Noreen and welcome to my kitchen and this week's chat and channel update. Today is October 24th. No, today is October 25th. That is really bad that I had to look at the calendar, but it is the 25th. Last week I got the chat and channel update done a little bit late and I apologize. So you're getting this a little sooner than, you know, a week later, but that's okay. I have a lot of questions. I actually chose more than 4 this week because they were all so pertinent. I kind of wanted to address them and I thought they would be good. But before we start anything, I wanted to announce that my new cookbook, and that is a sneak preview of the cover. It's not exactly color perfect, but it's called Cocos and Cookies and More Galore. Hi, Scooter. Scooter's older than dirt. There's a little story about her. When we've had Scooter since 2003.
When you did the cuts?
It was in 2003 because I was doing a 10-year reunion of a production of Godspell that I had been in. And it was shortly after Rick and I had moved in together. No, it was 2004. Yeah, it was 2004. Anyway, the girls and I had moved into a rental, and the people who had lived there previously had cats, and they just moved and they left the cats, and the cats kind of dispersed into the neighborhood. And there was a lady who lived behind us and told us all about this stuff. And one day Rick was out in the backyard. He was actually spray painting canes for a dance routine, and he had them all. He had them hanging from the clothesline. I mean, I wasn't there. Mm-hmm. Rick was there, but this is the story. And he's standing there spray painting these canes, and did she like pipe up?
Well, I was at the picnic table laying them out to dry, and then she came running down the alley and saw me and started meowing her head off and came running through the gate, and she jumped up on the table and climbed right up my chest.
Mm-hmm. And then he got up to go in the house. He opened up the back door. She ran in, and she ran into Molly's bedroom, and she planted herself on the bed and said, "This is my house."
Mm-hmm. Stayed ever since.
And where you been? This is my Scooter. And we think that she has got to be probably 15 years old.
14, 15, yeah.
Yeah, we've had her for almost 10 years.
She was fully grown when she found me.
And she was probably at least 5 years old before that, because the lady who lived behind us told us that. And she had actually been having the stray cats in the neighborhood fixed. You know.
We kind of named her Scooter because she kind of scooted around on the floor, you know.
And she's so old and her hips. Oh.
But it turns out the people who had her before us, I guess they named her Shorty.
Yeah, because Scooter has a bent tail. You can't see it, but her tail, we don't know if she had an accident or something when she was a baby, but she has a little bent tail. It's crooked and it's kind of
almost like a little corkscrew in the end.
Yeah, it is, and she's very sweet. You'd never know that she was as old as she is, except now she's starting to walk with a little wobble in her step because I think her hips are starting to bother her. But that's who's laying on the table with me today. So if you don't like that, you can click that off. You know, the little Xbox is right up there.
Well, there's two more here, too. So.
These are my children, okay? Aside from my non-furry ones. So anyway, sorry for that interruption.
Oh, she interrupted.
She did. But my new cookbook is available on Lulu.com. It's Cocos and Cookies and More Galore. And what it is over 50...
Now you?
To be specific, there's 60 recipes in it. Hi, Sam, huh? Yeah. 60 recipes. There's 20 recipes for cocoa mixes, or there's cocoa, coffee, tea, and latte mixes in there. There's 20 of them. All the ones I've shown on my YouTube channel are in there, as well as a few that I haven't shown yet. I'm getting ready to. But there are things in there from a basic cocoa mix to the French vanilla Vienna, the spice tea, the fruit tea, and then also I have a recipe that I developed for a pumpkin spice latte mix. I'm very excited. I'll be sharing that soon, but if you want it before I do that, then you can pick up the cookbook. It also has 20 really nice holiday cookie recipes in it. There are several pressed cookie recipes, as well as my grandmother's Keefly recipe that I have so many people asking me for, so I went ahead and I put it in this cookbook. And there's also 20 holiday treat recipes that range from peanut brittle to traditional toffee to pinoche, and several different varieties of fudge, stuffed dates, spiced nuts. I could go on, but I'm really proud of this cookbook. And I know that my first cookbook, Noreens Kitchen Holiday Helper, was a holiday cookbook, but it had several different full meal menus in it, from everything from appetizer to desserts and breakfast and everything in between. We have a full house today. But
well, it cooled off a lot, so
it
they're all
did,
came
so
in
they're
now.
all wanting to come in. So now the cat's rubbing up against the camera, the tripod. So I'll leave a link below. The link is always below to get to my lulu.com author site, where you can go ahead and check out both the Holiday Helper and the cookies and Cocos and Cookies and More Galore. And you'll also be able to get a 25% discount off the retail cover price for a limited time. And if you use that link, you'll be able to get that discount. So I wanted to share that with you. I'm very proud of this cookbook. I was very proud of the last cookbook. And I just wanted to let you know about that. I did a separate video on that. So in any case, let's see. I got some mail this week. I was very excited. This was the first time I've been to my post office box where there was something in it, and I had two nice little surprises. I had a lovely card and a little letter, and I love getting letters because, you know, people just don't sit down and write letters anymore. They write emails, which are lovely, and I appreciate getting them too. But I get these lovely, I got this lovely little note with a recipe in it, and this is from Miss Bonnie Dixon from Maryland. And she sent me a lovely note, and she shared with me a recipe that her family enjoys that's called cappuccino punch. And I'm excited to try this very soon, and maybe I'll even share it with everyone. So, Bonnie, thank you so much for sharing your recipe with me. I think that is a lot of fun. Do you have recipes that your family enjoys? Write them on a recipe card and send them to my P.O. box. The address is always below. I think that would be a really fun project to compile recipes from all my viewers and see where that goes.
Another cookbook.
It could be another cookbook. You just never know. That's how the Gooseberry Patch cookbooks work. People send them recipes, they test them, and then they put them in their books. So I think that's really awesome. I got another package. This was a package, and I knew this was coming because this individual contacted me and asked me if she could send me this book. This is from Charlotte Hardwick, and this is the author of the book, and she sent me this book called Dear Judge, and it's a compilation of 190 letters from children trapped in a war in which they love and need to be loved by both sides. And it's about the victims of divorce, which are children. And many of you may already know that I spent 10 years or so being a paralegal. The last 7 of those years I spent with my most recent job working for a gentleman who's now currently a district court judge. And it's the first time I ever had to do family law work. And the last 7 years were really eye-opening. And we got this, and Rick opened it up in the car, and he started reading it to me, and I had to make him stop because I couldn't handle it. I was in tears. If you've been through a divorce, you already know how hard that is. But having been a paralegal and dealing with people who were going through divorce and not really being able to smack them upside the head and say, excuse me, you're only thinking about yourself and you're not thinking about your kids, it was sometimes very difficult for me to do. And I can't talk about it because it's going to make me cry. Because I think about all the people that I helped over the last 7 years, and a lot of the times it was really a good experience. But there were those few that stick out in my head that were just so difficult because you really, really felt for them, and you couldn't just sit there and suggest how they should feel, because that's not your job. Your job is to help them with paperwork and court documents and whatever. But some days it was almost impossible to not cry my eyes out on the half-hour ride home from work every day. So I want to thank you very much, Charlotte. We are reading this in bits and pieces as I can take it. Molly, my oldest daughter, has taken an interest in taking a look at it. My girls, even though they are children of a divorce situation, their situation is very, very different. And it's all about how you choose to deal with it. You've got to put your kids first, and you've got to put yourself way last. And you've got to put everything that you feel about the other side way over here, and you've got to bury it, and you've got to put a big rock over top of it, and you've got to swallow hard, and you just got to deal with it. You can't put your kids in the middle. And you got to tell the other person, you don't send things through the kids. You got to bring it to me. And that's also sometimes a really hard thing to deal with. But I want to thank you, Charlotte and Bonnie, for sending me. This is my first really exciting trip to the P.O. Box. And if you guys send me something in the P.O. Box, I'm going to share it in my channel update because I think it's a lot of fun to share. So, a couple pieces of business. Everybody, several people will ask me, do you have a recipe for this or do you have a recipe for that? Please go to my channel and use the search option to see if I have a recipe for that. If I don't, then drop me a note and I'll be happy to put it on the list. If I, usually I'll just write you back and tell you, yes, I do have a recipe for it. Go use the channel search. I get so much email in the course of a day. I read every single email that I get. Pardon me. Please know that. I don't ignore any. I may not write you back and I may not comment back because literally it would take me hours every single day to respond to every single person who sends me an email in the course of a day. So know that you're not being ignored, but I read every single email I have. But to save yourself a little time, you may want to go check my channel page and see. Because right now, I have almost 1,100 videos uploaded. So chances are you might find what you're looking for. If not, then drop me a line. If I haven't heard of something and I'm not familiar with it, I'm probably not going to make it, but I'll look into it and maybe it'll be something I'd be interested in trying and we can learn together. Also, I want to make sure if you choose, now this isn't a have to, but if you choose, please go ahead and follow me on Google+, on my Facebook. I have a Facebook fan page for The Holidays Are Coming. I also have a Facebook fan page for Noreens Kitchen or What's for Dinner. That's one fan page. So I have two fan pages that are associated with this YouTube channel. My website, my Instagram, my Pinterest boards. Go ahead and follow me on all those venues because I do different things on all of those particular platforms. I post to Instagram. I post pictures of the things that I'm making videos of, but a lot of times I post those pictures a lot sooner. Like I post in the day that I make them. You may not see the video for a week or so. It just depends.
You quit.
Scooter pie. Now I got all weepy, so my nose is running. Don't you hate that? So, make sure that you follow me because, things are always happening. I'm always sending a tweet or responding to a tweet or it's just a lot of fun. And I'm always posting pictures on the Instagram and interacting on the Facebook pages and what have you. So make sure you follow me over there. And Thanksgiving, I wanted to mention, Thanksgiving is just a little over a month, I think a month and 3 days away because I think Thanksgiving is on Molly's birthday this year. So that's the 28th of November, right? I think it is. Thanksgiving is on the 28th, and that is Molly's birthday. So, what are some things you want to see in preparation for Thanksgiving? Is there something that you've always wanted to know how to make that you would like to see me make? As far as a side dish or something that I haven't already shown. I'm getting a lot of requests for just side dishes. Could you show more side dishes? Well, what kind do you want? I had someone ask if I could show how to make a green bean casserole without using the mushroom soup in a can. You can totally do that, and I'd be happy to show you. However, I will give you full disclosure, the recipe that I would be using would be the recipe from Good Eats because Alton Brown kicks butt, and I don't think I've ever seen anybody make one from scratch quite better than he does. So you can go find that one on YouTube as well, and I'll be happy to put that on my list if you want to see me do that because I just don't like I'll use mushroom soup in a can because I have some that I need to get rid of, but green bean casserole is not my favorite. I have to admit, it's just not. I always like broccoli and cheese sauce. My mom would always do that, or corn and butter sauce. And then you like that scalloped corn thing, right?
Yeah.
You need to get your mom to tell you how to make that so that I can make that for a video.
I know, but
You might want to confirm.
yeah.
So we can make that, like a corn casserole. I would love to make a spoon bread. I have a fabulous spoon bread in my head that I want to do because we had it at a restaurant in Colonial Williamsburg that was absolutely fantastic. Shout out to Christiane Campbell's Tavern. So let me know. That's your assignment. Again, last week I asked you what you wanted to see. Again, I'm going to ask you because I didn't get a lot of response really for Thanksgiving recipes, but just let me know and we'll go from there. So I'm just going to go ahead and move on to the questions because I have a lot of them. I picked more than 4, even more than 5. I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7. I picked 7. So sue me. All right. I feel like Henny Youngman. Take my wife, please. Am I dating myself? I think maybe. All right. This first question is from Midwest Katie, and it was actually done a day ago. I had a problem this week and thought of you to help me with it. I bought an expensive non-stick muffin pan and it sticks like crazy. What am I doing wrong? There is a misconception among people who think when you purchase a pan that has non-stick coating on it, that it means that your food won't stick to it. This is a complete misnomer. In my opinion, non-stick cookware just means it's easier to wash. You still need to spray it with a vegetable oil cooking spray, or you need to butter and flour it, or in the case of the muffin pan, you might even want to go ahead and put liners in it. I know I've said it before, I don't like to use liners for muffins. I always use them for cupcakes, but for muffins I just don't care to use the paper liners because oftentimes the muffin will stick to the liner and then you end up throwing half of the muffin away because it sticks to the paper. And since we shouldn't probably be eating the paper, even though it probably would hurt us, well, it's a little fiber, right? But who wants to eat paper? So that's my suggestion, is that just because it says it's non-stick, it probably isn't. And the other part of that too, my bread pans are non-stick. I also don't wash them. If you go to any real good bakery or restaurant that bakes bread or uses bread pans for bread purposes, they're not washing those bread pans. They're just wiping them out with a clean cloth. And they're seasoned just like cast iron skillet. You don't wash the cast iron skillet with soap and water. I mean, you wash it with water and a brush, but I don't wash it with soap ever unless I have no choice. And if I'm starting from scratch, like I have a project outside that I am planning on doing here very soon. Rick's brother, my brother-in-law, Doug, a couple of years back, he used to be big into scouting. His oldest son, in fact, is an Eagle Scout. Well, he's a grown-up now, but...
Middle son.
Is that the oldest?
Yeah.
Oh, I guess I mixed that up.
But
Okay, so
anyway.
Nick is an Eagle Scout, middle son. Anyway, how would you would know from what? So Doug used to be a scoutmaster, and they used to go camping all the time. The last time they were over, well, when Nick was still in the Marine Corps, he brought me this massive Dutch oven, cast iron Dutch oven, which is living underneath my potting table outside. It's not, pardon me, it's not exposed to the elements, it's just living outside. And it needs some work. So that's going to be a video. I'm going to show you how I take that from really, really ugly to beautiful in a few easy steps.
It's going to be a mess.
It's going to take some work, but it's gonna be really great when it's done. It's really a big Dutch oven, and I'm gonna be happy when I get it done, because it's gonna be awesome for frying and what have you. So anyway, non-stick doesn't necessarily mean non-stick. It just means it's easy to wash. So make sure you spray it, season it, and then go from there. Okay, I got off on that tangent again. So much to learn for, writes. Your sound audio is excellent too. I think that she was replying to someone who had made a comment about my camera, and I explained what camera I use. And I don't use any microphone. I don't use a lavalier mic. A lot of people suggest that you do that, but I feel like I have small surroundings and I get good sound quality from the camera as is. So thank you for that. But she also goes on to say, what I really want to know is, how do you like not working full-time outside the home? I would love to hear your opinion on the different benefits versus obstacles. I'm sure you're working more hours with all your social media projects, but I am wondering what positive or negative effects you have noticed, if any, just trying to make some life decisions. Example, quality versus quantity. Okay. Here's what I've been telling people. I may not work outside the home, but I work inside the home 24 hours a day.
Oh. It's at least an 80-hour-a-week job.
I work a lot in my kitchen. You know, we're making videos, and this isn't just my job, it's Rick's job too, because Rick is doing all my camera work. He's providing moral support, he's a sounding board for me.
I'm lighting, makeup, and sound.
He's everything. And, you know, not only that are we doing that, I sit at my desk a good portion of the day. You know, we're still having to do everything that we were before. I often wonder how I had a full-time job and did all of this at the same time. Because I look at that and go, wow, it blows my mind. Because, you know, life goes on. The greatest benefit to me is being here for my girls no matter what time of day it is. Even though they always were accessible, I was accessible to them no matter what. But being able to take them to and from school, being, I think, more involved in their day-to-day activities than I was before, that's definitely a benefit. I've been able to, I haven't lost any income, with the exception of that this YouTube channel project used to be my extra income, but now it is my income. So the negative of that is that I am not making extra anymore. So that does cause us to tighten up a bit. But I would say that as I like being at home, but I am a person who I spend a lot of time. I've never been able to be at home with my kids, even when I was, you know, when they were small. I always felt very cheated out of that experience, able to be a stay-at-home mom. So now I can consider myself to be a stay-at-home mom, but it's still different because I still have this kind of business that is budding. It's still in its infancy, and every day I have more new ideas of more new directions that I want to take this. And then when I put my mind to it, I want to sit down and organize things. It's a lot of work working for yourself, and it's even more work working for yourself at home. If I had a larger house with an extra room that I could make into an office, it would be better because I could go in that room, I could do what I needed to do, and then at the end of the workday, I could close the door and then do what I needed to do as a mom or wife or both. So it's different now because my office is in my kitchen. So it is what it is. We're making it work. Maybe someday my situation will be different and I'll have a different house, or we'll be able to afford to put an addition on and do what we'd like to do there. But I think it's all how you approach it. I get up at 5 o'clock every morning. I get my kids ready to go to school. We run them around and drop them off. Rick and I take time for ourselves to go do a little exercise. We come home and we go to work, you know, whether it's filming videos, setting up videos, you know, I'll do several at once if I possibly can, and then we have the editing. I do all of that. He does the camera, he does, he sets the lighting, he makes sure to tell me that my makeup looks okay, or that I don't have a wonky hair out of place, or whatever. This is a joint effort, and maybe someday I won't be able to do this. Maybe someday I'll have to go get a job. I hope not. I want this to be my job forever because I really love it. And you just never know what opportunities might present themselves for us, and that's good for everyone. So that's my answer to that.
But don't think it's easy.
It's not easy. It's a lot of work because, like I said, I get up at 5 o'clock every morning, and a lot of times I don't go to bed until 11 or 12 because I'm answering emails, or I'm editing videos, or I'm doing something on all of my social media platforms. But it's constant. It's constant. If I didn't have my iPhone, I can do a lot of that stuff while I'm on the run. So that's a good thing. All right, moving on. Robert Miller says, just watched the 1020 update and loved it. I just wanted to know, what was your first video and why did you decide to do it? Well, that's a tricky answer because my first video ever was in May of 2008, I think. Yes. And it was a video that I was not in, but it was just a reposting of a news broadcast that got me upset about a giant scanner that they placed.
X-ray machine.
Yeah, it was a giant X-ray machine that they placed not too far from where I lived. And it was to get on the ferry, and you had to drive your car through it, and they were going to take an X-ray of the inside of your car. And I thought that was really horrible.
The whole thing with you in it.
It's true. And so that was my first video. My first cooking video was done in January of 2009, and it was making some sort of jam, whether it was pineapple or blueberry. It was done on a horrible camera. It was done one afternoon when the kids were home from school because we had a freak snowstorm here, and I decided to make jam. And Molly says, let's make a video, and she picked up the horrible camera with the horrible sound and the horrible picture and the horrible lighting, and we made a horrible video. But we did that, and we did blueberry jam, and it was in bits and pieces because I had no idea how to edit. I had no idea how to convert, and that's why those videos are in tiny little bits and pieces. And I didn't know how to use I didn't know how to use Windows Movie Maker. I didn't know how to do any of that. And then we did the pasta fagioli, and it was that was history. We also, I think, did a video of the can rotator. Mm-hmm. In bits and pieces, I finally got my act together to where we are now. I've been through a lot of learning, a lot of change, and now, we kind of know where we're at. This isn't the last camera that we're ever going to have, because the camera that I'd really love to have, I can't afford. It's really kind of a expensive piece of equipment, but you never know. Somewhere down the line, we might get one, and we'll just take it from there. All right, John Tippins, one of my regular viewers. He says, hi, Noreen, does your family enjoy cranberry sauce or cranberry jelly? I prefer the sauce kind, not the weird gelatinous kind that is sliced, and would like to know how you make it. Well, John, I like both.
Neither.
Rick hates both. He's not a cranberry fan. But I don't make jelly cranberry sauce. I have a video on how to make cranberry sauce really easy. And cranberry sauce is a really easy recipe, usually on the back of the bag. Sugar, water, cranberries, really that's all you need. But if you want to make it better than that, add some dried cranberries, add orange juice instead of water, chop up an orange and put it in there, or chop up an apple, or chop up both. Add a little bit of cinnamon, a little dash of nutmeg, let that cook. Leave it in the pot, put the lid on it overnight. It's going to gel up, but not like the weird gelatinous stuff in the can. You just mix it up the next day, and you're going to have a lovely relish. Some people even chop up a little walnuts and throw it in there, and then you kind of have this really great crunch factor going on. Some people add weird things like onions and celery, and that is not cool to me. So that's the answer to that question. Jeremy Gould says, ever make something that didn't turn out to what you expected it to be, and what did you do because of that mishap disaster meal? That's an easy answer. We all have failures, and I have had failures, and sometimes we eat them, And sometimes we throw them in the garbage.
Or feed them to the dogs.
Or feed them to the dogs. Just because we didn't like it. We try not to waste, but sometimes you have no choice. Like last week, I tried my hand at a pumpkin mousse, and it was horrible. I put too much gelatin in it, and it was like a super ball. Do you know what that is? A super ball? I mean, it was horrible. It was... Pumpkin mousse should not be like chewing a piece of gum. It was bad. So I threw it away. Because all we do when we fail is we learn how not to do something and we move on and we try again. It's just a few ingredients. It's no big deal. What do I always say? It's cooking. It's not rocket science. And do you know what? Rocket scientists make mistakes all the time. They learn how not to do it. And then they move on and they figure out how to do it the right way. Tiffany Frazier asks, Noreen, can you talk more about pink Himalayan salt? How is it different from kosher salt? Does it taste any different than kosher or sea salt? I did a video on why we use pink salt, and I will refer you to that video because I answer all of those questions in that video. As for the taste, it tastes salty because it's salt. However, it is saltier than sea salt, and it is saltier than table salt, and Sarah's tail is getting in the lens.
Yeah. Go now.
Okay, so that's that. I'll make sure and put a link down below. You can go take a look at that video. Okay, Lynn1038 says, would you be able to figure out how to duplicate Wondra flour? No. Wondra flour is a granulated flour that is processed in a certain way. I believe it's actually pre-digested is what they call it, which means it's like pre-cooked, dehydrated, and ground up. And I'm not planning on doing that. I am very happy to buy the Wondra flour, which only costs like $3 a canister for me. So I appreciate your question, but I'm not going to do that. That is all the questions I have for this week. Again, thank you to Bonnie Dixon and Charlotte Hardwick. Thank you, Charlotte, for the book. Thank you, Bonnie, for the lovely note and the recipe. And thank you all for joining me. I have so much fun. Rick plays this trivia game on his iPhone, and it's the IMDb trivia, and I don't know if you know what that is. IMDb is Internet Movie Database, and I guess this is an app. Is this, or is this on the IMDb app, or is this a separate one?
Separate one.
This says, did you know, for the scene in which Flick's tongue sticks to the flagpole, a hidden suction tube was used to safely create the illusion that his tongue had frozen to the metal.
What movie is that from?
Golly, hey! Play!
Let the bell ring.
Let go!
Let the bell
Golly,
ring.
hey! We have to watch it at least once a year, every year.
But we never do.
We do!
Not all of it.
I can recite that movie from start to finish for you. Would you like me to start right now? Thank you for joining me for another edition of Chat and Channel Update. I hope you all have a great week. Leave me your questions down below. It doesn't have to be anything specific. If you've got questions, just ask and I'll pick some for next week. The holidays are coming. We got work to do. Remember to get busy making your lists, writing your notes, and if you're a crafter, you better really get busy because time is short. So, look for more videos coming soon this week, and until next time, I'll see ya!